It's time! Here are the rice dishes that you suggested ranked from worst to best. You gave me recipe suggestions, we spun it on the wheel, and then you voted for your favorite dish at the end of the season. 1,005 of you voted, and here are the results. Can you guess which one got number 1? What's this? Haiga rice! Nice! I was intrigued when a viewer mentioned this, so I couldn't wait to share with all of you. They said it's a cross between whole grain and white rice. What does this mean? It is a little bit chewier than white rice, but tastes more similar to white rice than brown rice. So here's the difference. Brown rice still has the bran and germ. Haiga rice only has the germ. And white rice removes both the bran and germ. I recommend trying this if you want the flavor of white rice, but with a chewier texture. I like this a lot. So I made adobo onigiri with it.
It looks like garlic fried rice. This is so good.
I don't know.
Can a rice series be 20 recipes long?
This is Haiga rice.
Taste is not easy to tell, but the texture for sure. It's like between white and brown rice. Inutak,
so utak means brain. It's a rice dessert that it looks like brains. When you stick this in the oven, the top bubbles and makes it look like a brain. It's sweet glutinous rice that you're cooking in a pan. I decided to add some ube jam because it wasn't sweet enough before putting some coconut milk on top and sticking it in the broiler. I think it's supposed to be a little bit thicker. This is my first time making it, so it's pretty good. I think it's like a good amount of sweetness.
I would call it like a rice pudding without chunks of rice.
Arroz con dulce. This one is Puerto Rican dish, I think. There's lots of variations of this sweet rice pudding all over the world. I looked up what makes arroz con dulce unique. The two major characteristics are, 1, it uses short grain rice, and 2, coconut milk is used instead of cow's milk. I can put away the lactase pills. I think this is supposed to be served cold, but I want to try it hot first. It's not too sweet. It's so flavorful, and the raisins don't bother me because they're nice and plump, so they're kind of like integrated with the rest of the rice. I think this will be really refreshing when it's cold. I think I chilled this too much. I like them both ways. I feel like it got sweeter though when I had this cold. Okay, with this one, I was really torn between making it with or without milk. But I've always been curious to taste non-dairy horchata, and this is my opportunity. I used Stella and Spice's horchata recipe, which mentioned that her abuela grew up drinking it non-dairy. And I was surprised it was a lot easier to make than I expected. Well, until I got to the cheesecloth straining part. I have a hard time using cheesecloth and made a mess. But aside from that, it's pretty simple. This non-dairy version tastes very light and crisp, which I think would be refreshing on a hot day. It's very light.
It's not as thick as I was expecting. I still like it.
You like it better with milk, huh? We'll probably add some like almond milk or something. Homemade pounded mochi. Oh! Yes, I've been wanting to try this. I followed Just One Cookbook's blog. This is probably the stickiest food I've ever encountered in my life. I skewed away from the traditional ways a little bit because I used kinako powder since I didn't have potato starch and dusted powdered sugar on top instead of mixing sugar in the mochi. Hopefully using kinako powder was not a mistake. That's a lot. It's so sticky. I like it because it tastes really fresh. It feels like there's still like little bits of rice in there, but it's still silky at the same time. I thought the kinako powder would get in the way of the texture in the middle, but it's fine to me. I would probably like make them smaller next time. Oh. Payesh. Nice, this one will be delicious. This was a popular request and it was a lot easier to make than I thought. Plus, I really wanted the wheel to pick it since it's my favorite type of dessert. Rice, milk, and nuts.
The spices in this. Oh, so good.
Spice. Just one. Can you guess?
Nutmeg. Chai.
Chai is a blend.
This isn't chopped masala, is it?
Chopped masala is also a blend. Instead of a cinnamon bun, I get...
Why is it escaping me? It's the, dang it. Coriander. No.
Should Doug cook more? Yes. Should he be asking for a 20-day series if he's not gonna cook any of them? No. This is really good though, huh? And the crunch of the nuts, so good.
Cardamom.
Hallelujah. Okay, here's our next recipe. Bilo-bilo are glutinous rice balls. Well, it's also the name of the dessert. You can have this plain or you can flavor it. This one's half ube, surprise, but I've also made them with pandan flavor on the channel. These cook once they float in boiling water and it only takes a few minutes. The dessert part is when it's tossed in sweet coconut milk with a variety of fruits and tubers. Oh, here we go. This is the first time I made ube bilo-bilo. Okay, it's hot. Ooh, so silky. Cassava. I didn't make this too sweet so that I can eat a lot for breakfast, but you can always add more sugar depending on your taste. Give me more rice recipes we can try and we'll spin again tomorrow. Rice paper tteokbokki. I've always wanted to play with rice paper that wasn't spring rolls. This will be my opportunity. I've never cooked rice paper like this before and I'm curious to see how this turns out. Would I do this again? No. It's labor intensive to roll up all that rice paper, slice them, and separate them. And this was actually only half the amount of rice cakes that the recipe called for. Thankfully, I ran out of rice paper. For texture, the rice paper makes this extra chewy and doesn't have the soft and silky texture of the traditional rice cakes, which I prefer, but it works. Doug loves tteokbokki, but he's been playing Diablo this whole time and has no idea what I just made. Do you try this? There you go. Okay, you can look now.
Ooh, let's go. Oh, sorry. The best series ever.
That was a very strong one. I'm nervous that jambalaya is gonna come up. Oh my god, are you serious? It was like right next to it. I got it confused with jollof rice, which is currently the most intimidating recipe on the wheel for me. But today, we were bestowed with an easier recipe. I used Made of Lao's red bean popsicles recipe. I figured I could substitute sticky black rice instead of red bean. But instead of popsicle molds, I'm using these tube-shaped bags. In the Philippines, I'd have Filipino ice candy after school, and they're usually in plastic tubes like this. Well, with ingredients like coconut milk and sticky rice, these rice popsicles are definitely Filipino inspired. It's soft. Okay.
Okay.
I was scared that the glutinous rice grains would be too tough to chew, but it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, this is actually really, really good.
The rice itself naturally tastes a little toasty. Reminds me of the Philippines. Here it is, and the #1 rice recipe that you all voted for goes to bubur ayam, which is fantastic, by the way. It was a lot of work, but it was so tasty. And yes, Doug and I did eat the dish with the soup. We just didn't get to show it at the end of the video. Wow, so I confused this with a rice recipe that I wrote on the wheel that had like 5 ingredients and took 30 minutes to make. I had to fetch 10 ingredients for this, and I cut out a lot of the prep so it could fit into 60 seconds. But Doug and I are always down for an Indonesian dish, especially if it's like congee. It was labor intensive, but thankfully not difficult to make. Doug has been waiting the last few hours for me to finish this, so he gets to taste it first.
It's so hyped. You didn't taste it yet?
Yeah, I probably should have tasted it.
It was so good. That soup is good.
Oh my god, I forgot the shrimp chips! Thank you all for participating in this season, and if you made it this far, comment a rice and shrimp emoji. Oh, and give us an ingredient that you'd want to cover for season 4. Until then,